The Evening Star, Washington, D.C., Friday, March 30th, 1923. Nabbed 2 hotel boys in rum conspiracy. Higher up sought as liquor is seized and more arrests expected. The first stroke in a campaign recently organized by Prohibition enforcement authorities to hand men higher up in the bootleg game stiff sentences and fines when convicted of using others as tools in distributing syndicates was delivered today when police and revenue agents arrested 2 Raleigh Hotel bellhops on charges of conspiracy to commit an offense against the United States. The climax is expected to be reached if others in an alleged combination to supply hotel guests with liquor are arrested. Revenue agents and police were certain today that other arrests would be made and the case of conspiracy rounded out. Specially detailed from Prohibition headquarters, Linton Evans, agent, with precinct detectives Worrell and Jackson of the 1st Precinct and policeman J.H. Hunt of the 10th Precinct arrested Philip John Campbell, 22 years old, of 75 New York Avenue Northeast, and Raymond Walter Cave, 21, of 310 Massachusetts Avenue Northeast, on charges of selling and transportation of liquor and conspiracy in violation of Section 37 Revised Statutes 5440, which stipulates a fine of $10,000 or 2 years in prison, or both as maximum sentences upon conviction. Week's investigation. Evans has been working on the case for several weeks, with the hotel management cooperating with the authorities in every manner, placing conveniences at the disposal of the officers. Cave was arrested early today, charged with an alleged sale to Precinct Detective Worrell. Later this morning, Campbell was arrested. Upon a search of Campbell's rooms under a warrant granted by the United States Commissioner George McDonald this morning, 14 quarts of liquor were found in suitcases. The young man occupied a rear room at the New York Avenue address with his wife. When the police and the revenue men entered, the wife broke into tears. At the 1st Precinct later, the officers learned the identity of the man from whom the boys are alleged to have been obtaining liquor for peddling purposes, and a search for him has begun. Dry attorneys on scene. Attorneys from the Prohibition Enforcement Unit were on the scene at the precinct station. They reviewed the case from every aspect, in event of it becoming one involving the establishment of a precedent in Prohibition enforcement procedure, and finally decided that in addition to other charges, the Criminal Code Section 37 regarding conspiracy would be the one on which the big fight for a conviction would be made. This action stipulates if 2 or more persons conspire either to commit any offense against the United States or to defraud the United States in any manner or for any purpose, and 1 or more of such parties do any act to affect the object of the conspiracy, each of the parties shall be fined not more than $10,000 or imprisoned not more than 2 years, or both. Evidence of sale unnecessary. By invoking this section, Agent Evans explained, sale does not necessarily have to have been in evidence against the wholesale distributor of liquor to the retail peddler. The simple establishment of the fact that the distributor was a member of the clique which ultimately brought illicit beverages to the lips of violators of the Prohibition Act is held by attorneys of the Prohibition Unit sufficient to ensure his conviction under this section. Police said today they obtained admissions from Cave to the effect that he had sold liquor at $16 a quart, who in turn is alleged to have stated that he was supplied liquor at $120 a case and peddled it at $15 a quart. This is the first move in a general campaign, Evans declared. What has struck me so forcibly in the entire business is the fact that while the wholesale distributor belongs to that class of higher-ups who ride around in large automobiles, the boy who was working for him, it seems, has been living in a small rear room and barely making a living. We want the men higher up, and this seems to be the surest way of getting them.